Welcome back. In this unit, we're going to give you an introduction to OSHA. The purpose of this unit is to provide you with introductory information about OSHA. Some of the topics we'll cover will be: why is OSHA important to you? What rights do you have under OSHA? What responsibilities does your employer have under OSHA? What are OSHA standards? How are OSHA inspections conducted? And where can you go when you need help about OSHA regulations? The Bureau of Statistics Census of 2016 fatal occupation injury reports there were 5,190 workplace fatalities in 2016. That's a 7% increase from 2015, and it notes that the opioid-related deaths are on the rise in the American workplace. It also shows that more workers lost their lives in transportation incidents than any other event in 2016, accounting for about 1 out of every 4 fatal injuries. It also showed that workplace violence injuries increased by 23%, making it the second most common cause of workplace fatality. The number of overdoses on the job also increased by 32% in 2016, and the number of drug-related fatalities has increased by at least 25% annually since 2012. Today's occupational fatality data shows a tragic trend with a third consecutive increase in worker fatalities in 2016, the highest since 2008. The nation's opioid crisis has invaded the workplace, and it's impacting Americans every day at home and, as this data demonstrates, increasingly on the job. The Department of Labor is working with the public and private stakeholders to help eradicate the opioid crisis as a deadly and growing workplace issue. The 5,190 workplace deaths from injuries means that 14 workers were killed on the job a day, the highest number since 2008 and the highest rate since 2010. The 2016 BLS Job Fatality Report reveals disturbing trends. The increase in job fatalities in 2016 reported by BLS appears to show that for many groups of workers in this country, work is becoming more and more dangerous and deadly. OSHA stands for Occupational Safety and Health Administration, an agency of the U.S. Department of Labor. OSHA's responsibility is to improve worker safety and health protection. On December 29, 1970, President Nixon signed the OSHA Act. This act created OSHA, the agency which formally came into being on April 28, 1971. The mission of OSHA is to assure safe and healthful working conditions for working men and women by setting and enforcing standards and by providing training, outreach, education, and assistance. Some of the things OSHA does to carry out its mission are developing job safety and health standards and enforcing them through worksite inspections, also providing training programs to increase knowledge about occupational safety and health. Here are some of the rights you have under OSHA. You have the right to a safe and healthful workplace, to know about hazardous chemicals, to report injury to your employer, to complain or request hazard correction from employers, the right to training, the right to hazard exposure and medical records, the right to file a complaint with OSHA, and to participate in OSHA inspections, as well as the right to be free from retaliation for exercising your safety and health rights. It's important that everyone understand work protection is the law. OSHA was created to provide workers the right to a safe and healthful workplace. It is the duty of the employers to provide workplaces that are free of known dangers that could harm their employees. This law also gives workers important rights to participate in activities to ensure their protection from job hazards. Hazardous chemicals are not uncommon in workplaces. Employers must have a written, complete hazard communication program that includes information on container labeling, safety data sheets or SDSs, and worker training. The training must include the physical and health hazards of the chemicals and how workers can protect themselves. OSHA's record-keeping rule requires most employers with 10 workers to keep a log of injuries and illnesses. Workers have the right to report an injury and review current logs. Workers also have the right to view the annually posted summary of the injuries and illnesses on the OSHA 300A. Workers may also bring up safety and health concerns in the workplace to their employers without fear of discharge or discrimination. OSHA rules protect workers who raise concerns to their employers or OSHA about unsafe or unhealthful conditions in the workplace. Workers have a right to get training from employers on a variety of health and safety hazards and standards that employers must follow. Some required training covers topics such as chemical hazards, equipment hazards, noise, confined spaces, fall hazards in construction, personal protective equipment, along with a variety of other subjects. Training must be in a language and vocabulary that workers can understand. 1910.1020 gives workers the right to examine and copy records. Some examples of toxic substances and harmful physical agents are metals and dust such as lead, cadmium, and silica, biological agents such as bacteria, viruses, and fungi, physical stress such as noise, heat, cold, vibration, repetitive motion, and ionizing and non-ionizing radiation. Workers may file a confidential complaint with OSHA if they believe a violation of a safety or health standard or an imminent danger situation exists in the workplace. Workers may request that their name not be revealed to the employer. If the worker files a complaint, they have the right to find out OSHA's action on the complaint and request a review if an inspection is not made. During an OSHA inspection, employee representatives can accompany OSHA inspectors. Workers can talk to the inspector privately. Workers may point out hazards, describe injuries, illnesses, or near misses that resulted from those hazards, and describe any concerns they may have about safety and health issues. Workers can find out about inspection results, abatement measures, and may object to dates set for violations to be corrected. Workers also have the right to be free from retaliation for exercising safety and health rights. Workers have a right to seek safety and health on the job without fear of punishment. This right is spelled out clearly in Section 11C of the OSHA Act. Workers have 30 days to contact OSHA if they feel they have been punished for exercising their safety and health rights. Here are some of the responsibility that employers have under OSHA: providing a workplace free from recognized hazards and complying with OSHA standards, providing training which is required by OSHA standards, keeping records of injuries and illnesses, providing medical exams when required by OSHA standards, and providing workers access to their exposure and medical records, not discriminating against workers who exercise their rights under the Act, post OSHA citations and hazard correction notices, and provide workers with and pay for most types of PPE. When it comes to reporting and record keeping, employers must report each worker death to OSHA. They must report each work-related hospitalization, amputation, or loss of an eye. They must maintain injury and illness records. They must inform workers how to report an injury or illness to the employer, and they must make records available to their workers. They must also allow OSHA access to records and post annual summary of injury and illnesses. OSHA standards are rules that describe the methods employers must use to protect employees from hazards. They're designed to protect workers from a wide range of hazards. Where there are no specific standards, employers must comply with the General Duty Clause of the OSHA Act. OSHA standards also limit the amount of hazardous chemicals, substances, or noise that workers can be exposed to. Standards require the use of certain safe work practices and equipment, and standards require employers to monitor certain hazards and keep records of workplace injuries and illnesses. The OSHA Act authorizes OSHA compliance safety and health officers to conduct workplace inspections at reasonable times. OSHA conducts inspections without advance notice, example, imminent danger. In fact, anyone who tells an employer about an OSHA inspection in advance can receive fines and a jail term. The different types of inspections include imminent danger, fatality or hospitalizations, worker complaints or referrals, or targeted inspections like local emphasis programs, national emphasis programs, or particular hazards or industries, as well as follow-up inspections. OSHA inspections could result in employers receiving citations and penalties, such as a willful citation, which is where an employer intentionally and knowingly commits a violation, or a violation that employer commits with plain indifference to the law. OSHA may propose penalties of up to $129,336 for each willful violation, or a serious violation, which is where there is substantial probability that death or serious physical harm could result and that the employer knew or should have known of the hazard. There's a mandatory penalty for serious violations, which may be up to $12,934. Other than serious violations have a direct relationship to safety and health, but probably would not cause death or serious physical harm. OSHA may propose a penalty of up to $12,934 for each other than serious violations. And lastly, repeat violations. These are a violation that are the same or similar to previous violations. OSHA may propose penalties of up to $129,336 for each repeated violation. You can find more information on OSHA right in your workplace through employers or supervisors, coworkers, and union representatives. For chemical information, you can look on safety data sheets, labels, and warning signs. You can gain information through employee orientation manuals or other training materials, as well as work task and procedure instructions. Outside the workplace, you can visit the OSHA website at www.osha.gov and OSHA offices that you can visit, call, or write. You can check with Compliance Assistance Specialists in area offices, the National Institute of Occupational Safety and Health, known as NIOSH, which is an OSHA sister agency, OSHA Training Institute education centers, doctors, nurses, and other healthcare providers, public libraries, or other local and community-based resources. Filing an OSHA complaint is easy to do. You can download the OSHA complaint form from OSHA's website. You can file the complaint online or have a worker representative file the complaint for you. You can telephone or visit local regional or area offices to discuss your concerns. When you complete the form, be specific and include appropriate details. OSHA will then determine if an inspection is necessary. And remember that when filing a complaint, you do not have to reveal your name. So to sum it all up, this unit we covered the importance of OSHA, including history of safety and health regulations leading to the creation of OSHA, and OSHA's mission. We covered workers' rights under OSHA, employer responsibilities, OSHA standards, OSHA inspections, and safety and health resources, including how to file a complaint. Remember, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns about this or any other portion of your safety professional training, please bring them to the attention of your Valericella instructor.